The final hour of the Rated program every Thursday is our good friend Ken Barkley. You better you bet. You can catch it all week long. He's been in Vegas, and he's on Twitter at Lockie Lockerson. Ken, good morning. Instead of NBA trade deadline, is this just called the Super Bowl of Shams versus Woj? And if it is, who's the favorite? What's the line of Woj versus Shams in the breaking news department?
I think it can't be the Super Bowl, because no one good is getting traded. So this is like the week 13 bad Thursday night Amazon game of Woj versus Shams. Like, oh my God, like you got that Miles Bridges wasn't getting traded before someone else. Like, oh no, like that's like I can't believe it. Like, who I really wanted that scoop. That was going to be so good. Wait, Kira Lewis is getting traded from Utah. Like, no way. I mean, like, it's always really funny, like the arms race between those two guys, obviously, and they used to work together. And like the best part actually about their rivalry. So I mean, the betting line. I think Shams has been like, I don't even care, but like I think Shams has been first on a bunch of stuff recently. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if people know this, but like this isn't like inside information. You'll see it and how stuff is framed. They have like two completely different pools of sources, and they're like along very different lines. So like, and this is my opinion, but like, let's call it an informed opinion. Shams is really close with a lot of agents. Mm-hmm. And so he'll get stuff from the agents, and Woj is really close with a lot of the teams, and he'll get the teams. So it'll be really funny when a guy gets like suspended, and Shams will be like, it'll be like framed as the agent, which is like very pro player, right? Like, he is seeking an appeal, like he insists he did nothing wrong, and then Woj will like swoop in with it's like, the team says that the player, so they're coming at the same situation kind of as the mouthpiece from two different parties. I'll say like, look, Shams a little younger, just maybe got a little more pep, and he's been first a couple more times. Yep. Put him as like a small favorite, but I'm glad both are around. It's fun. Okay,
you're going to give me Woj sub a field goal money line? Like, I'll take Woj plus the 2.5.
Like Mahomes, right? Woj?
Yeah.
He is? Yeah, he's like an underdog. Yeah, it's really good.
It's the same thing. Ken, there's a lot to get into with this game. First, can I ask very quickly, and I know nothing is ever very quickly here in these interviews.
Right. What's the implication there? What are you trying to say?
Well, it's we love you. At Vegas, you've done Vegas a couple times with Nick. How is this experience compared to the others?
The Super Bowl's it's just a little different for us because we have to work our asses off this week. Like we have a lot to do, like other media stuff, like other obligations, like. It's like, you probably go out to some nice dinners. Yeah, but like those are work dinners. Like we're like trying to accomplish something during them. And then, oh, by the way, the show is on for 4 hours, like in the middle of the day. And, like we still have, like I get to call you guys and Nick has his like media stuff that he does. So we're, like my son at home wakes me up. He'll turn 5 next week. He wakes me up at like 6:15, 6:30 in the morning. He wakes my wife and I up. And so when I come out here, like, it doesn't matter. I could be in Hawaiian time. I could be in Sydney, Australia. At the equivalent of 6:30 Eastern time, I'm waking up. Like, that's what's happening. So here, that's 3:30. So it's dark, and only the, like, ghouls and goblins are out, like, roaming the strip. And it's like everyone's coming back from whatever they were doing. And I'm awake. So, like, it's it's fun being here. Like, Vegas is a fun place. It's cool to see a lot of people you haven't seen. The place is jam-packed. There's like a bunch of celebrities everywhere. Like, it's fun. But at 3:30 in the morning, like, I'm waking up and it's like a work day. So, I think people think like, oh, like Vegas, like what a sick party, like every night. Yeah, maybe when I was like 22 or something, I would try to do that. But I mean, we are kind of here for work. And I know it's a show about sports betting. This is not, I'm not doing construction on the outside of the Aria right here, but it's a little different. He's good. Yeah, we're used to it, but we're regulars, right? We got our regular spots. It's going pretty good.
You sound like you need to get down to the casino at 3 a.m. when your son calls and then order a vodka Red Bull and just get the day going. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, let that oxygen wake you up.
And then I'll go back home. I'll go back home and he'll wake me up at 6:30 and I'll like in a stupor be like, go out instead of hit the coffee machine, be like, well, give me a vodka Red Bull and a pack of Marlboros. Yeah, let's do it. So.
Ken Barkley is our guest here. You better you bet. They've done great shows all week. I missed yesterday's. I apologize for that. Usually I'm a pretty big P1 of the show. I missed yesterday's, so apologies if you sorted this out on the show. But all week when I've listened, and you guys have had some great guests. You've had your usual guests, but they're in person now, which is fantastic. it seems that what I'm getting away, or what I've gotten away so far with you guys, is both you and Nick have been a little conflicted here, where some of your guests are like, no, this is the side I'm on. I'm in on this side, and I've made my decision. And it feels like you guys, for a lot of the week, have been a little kind of back and forth. It's Thursday. I don't want to spoil anything on the show today, but where would you say you're at right now? Kansas City plus the 2, San Francisco minus the 2. Over-under hasn't moved. It's at 47.5. Where do you think you are right now?
Well, you're right about the guest thing too, by the way. And let me just tell you, and like this will be true if we ever meet in person to do an interview. It's just like so much different. It's just the energy's awesome. Like Nick and I never do shows together in person. He lives in Staten Island, I live in Connecticut, and like when we're together, you're like, oh man, like this is crazy. And then so we had like Sean Merriman on yesterday, who is the scariest person. He's not even like, he was a nice guy. Like he was very nice to us, very generous with his time. But like Nick even asked him, because he was like a dominant edge rusher who then fought like in UFC or like an MMA or whatever. Like this guy is like a lethal weapon. And Nick literally asks him, like, is there anybody in this, and we're in the media center full of like 10,000 people. Is there anybody in this room whose ass you don't think you could kick? And he like kind of paused for 2 seconds and he's like, nah, not really. And it was just like very matter of fact. It was like, okay. And like in person, you're just like, oh my God, this is, like, okay, cool. No problem. Where am I leading in the game? I think probably my most likely explanation of what I think will happen, or what's going on in the market. This is the third straight week where the Chiefs are still being rated kind of according to their regular season profile. They did not have a very good regular season. That's the reason why they were a dog at Buffalo. That's the reason why they got out to 5 as a dog against Baltimore. And it's part of the reason why they're a 2-point underdog in this game. Now it's kind of like the opinion of Kansas City is improving each week because, they keep winning and the other teams are losing, but like still a dog. And Baltimore and San Francisco were like pretty equivalently rated in the regular season. Baltimore was a little better. So it's not like there's been some big adjustment for Kansas City. And every week, like sharp bettors with influence that like move the market have come in against Kansas City. They did it against Buffalo, and they bet Buffalo. They bet Baltimore very heavily, and that moved that number out to like 5. And they've all bet San Francisco in this game. All of the biggest bets, all of the reported like our sharp players are on blank. It's all San Francisco. So this is a pattern, right? It's for whatever reason, like the rating difference between the teams is for people who are, again, like smarter than I am, but there's something that like does not compute to them about Kansas City this year. And they want to be on the opposite side of all these games that they've been burned twice. And I honestly think they're just going to get burned again. And I think that's what's going to happen. Like it's kind of that funny. There's just something happening here that's tough to quantify. Kansas City never looked like this in the regular season. They did not play one single game that looked like this, where the defense is like maybe a top two defense in the league, and Mahomes and the offense finally look competent, and like everybody's pretty healthy. This didn't look like that the whole year. So maybe that's tough to quantify, that this Chiefs team is different than week 8 and week 12 and even like last couple of weeks of the regular season. Maybe it's just different. That's always tough, when you want to use regular season stuff to make a decision. So I think it's Kansas City for me right now. That's just like the thing I feel the most confident in terms of the side. But compared to other Super Bowls, probably not the strongest opinion I've ever had.
Well, yeah, no, that's okay though. And you said a couple things there. The first is like, I've been saying this all week, like it doesn't happen often, but it's the underdog is the favorite and the favorite's the underdog. I know what you mean about the big bettors and how they're kind of dictating things sometimes. And you would be more plugged in on that stuff than me, but I think my producer for the BetQL show I do on Sunday nights, I think he passed me a note on Sunday, and we'll see what the percentages are today. 83% of the bets are Chiefs. I mean, we've been talking about it, and it's just Chiefs. It's Chiefs. It's Chiefs. It's Chiefs. And some people will go contrarian, go Niners just because, but, quantify it. I don't know if it needs much answering. It's Patrick Mahomes, right? Like I know all these things and all these matchups and EPA and success rate and red zone conversion, like all these things do matter. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people they're just going to pick Patrick Mahomes. It's the better quarterback. Many people believe that they have the better coach. They have the better defense. Like, when you comp them, no matter what the numbers say from the regular season, you comp them right now and it's a game to win. nobody's going to pick against. I mean, I know big bettors are, but largely, I think the everyday, the common person, they're just going to take back to Mahomes. I think that's what it is.
Right. I totally agree with you. I also would remind people, because I think people try to overthink this too. Oh, well, like, now that I know everyone's on the Chiefs, now I'm going to bet the Niners.
Right.
And, like,
right.
surely that must be the side of the game because everyone's on the Chiefs. I would just say, like, look at 83%. It could be 93%. It could be 73%. It's whatever. You'll also notice the market hasn't moved on those bets. And so, like, my response is, like, then I don't care about those bets. If they're not going to change the price that I get, then why would I care? It's the same bet that it was before my mailman bet the Chiefs and my babysitter bet the Chiefs and whatever. It's the same price. Like, I care when the price is changing. So, like, when the Ravens got bet and it got bet out a lot and it was 3.5 and then it was 5, now I care a lot because now I can get Kansas City +5. And to me, that is a very appealing bet. And I bet them to win the game also because the money line was moving. This is like the market is stable. So, like, the fact that everyone's on the Chiefs is very whatever to me. I would care much more if the price was moving. Like, does that change what I want to do? Like, how do I have it rated? When do I want to make the bet? And the fact that there has been enough San Francisco money, especially early in the first week from influential bettors, has kind of locked this thing in to them being favored, honestly. So, like, I kind of think this is just like the last 2 weeks. I know, like, the betting public was not on the Chiefs as aggressively against the Ravens, that nobody was on the Chiefs against the Ravens of any type, and against the Bills. But, like, who they're on is, like, not really my concern. And I would just kind of remind people, like, all right, like, in the last 10 Super Bowls, like, who has the public bet on and who's covered? Like, I don't even remember, and I bet nobody else does either. So, like, it's just, is it really that important? Like, there are examples all the time. Everybody on earth bet the Lions to beat San Francisco in the NFC Championship and had them to cover that game. And, like, the Lions money line was a very popular bet. Like, they almost a 17-point lead in the second half. Like, right side, like, Niners won. Like, it's just, this is where you lose me on this stuff.
Yeah. You don't strike me. Maybe I'll be wrong here, and I can't remember if we asked you this last year. You don't strike me as big, niche prop bets. It's one thing to maybe gamble the over of Pacheco carries or Kittle over on yardage or Kelsey MVP, assuming you think the Chiefs win. I think those are good prop bets, common prop bets that you yourself, with the information you collect throughout a season, find very valuable because I can capitalize on this. You don't strike me as I'm gambling on Gatorade color and over-under of Taylor Swift appearances or how many times Tony Romo says, Jim, in the actual broadcast. You don't strike me as that. Is that a right read?
So it's sort of. I'm much more likely actually to bet a bunch of the things that you mentioned, Gatorade color, national anthem.
Really? Okay.
Well, because those are kind of take all the props that are being offered, and there are a lot of them, and put them into two buckets. And the first bucket is like player performance, something that's random, something that involves the game actually being played, right? Who's going to score first? Will the game go to overtime? These are things where, like, you can have a good read, but really, like, all things are possible when you're watching the game. Like, Chiefs could win by 50, Niners could win by 50, like, anything's possible. Then there's a second bucket, which was what I would call information-driven props, which is stuff you could actually know for sure. So you can know for sure what the Gatorade color is. Let's say you knew the person who was standing next to the Gatorade. You would know what color it was. There is no doubt about what the color is. That's what it is. It's like a binary thing. It's like 100% you can know what it is. You can know what the national anthem time is going to be. They rehearse it today, and we will know what the time is. And then a lot of people will go bet a lot of money before the markets get pulled on whatever they do. Rehearse it twice. The times are almost always identical. And then, I mean, this is a television show. Like, the anthem time is going to be the same as the rehearsal time. This has now been, like, kind of blown up where everybody knows that this happens. So you can't really bet a lot of money on this anymore, but it used to be a really cool thing. Like, you could literally time the rehearsals. That information would get distributed. You could bet into the national anthem. It was not a guess. We knew the answer, and it was right. And it's the first halftime song. That rehearsal has to happen. You're going to know what the song is, and you're going to know what the last song is, and you're going to know who the special appearances are. Like, is Alicia Keys going to be there? Is Lil Jon going to come out for Yeah, the last song? Stuff like that. These are information-driven. I, at times, have been privy to a lot of really good information and have been able to make money betting those. So, like, that stuff, I'm much more – it's just – I don't want to call it free money, but it's just different than like, is Kelsey going to go over 5.5 catches or something like that?
Right.
The player stuff, like, I'll bet it for fun. I don't have like a strong opinion. I don't bet that stuff all year. I do have Kelsey to win MVP. I like some other stuff in MVP, but like, you know, in terms of like who's going to do what on the field, I'd rather bet the Gatorade color. I'd rather bet the stuff that I can actually figure out the answer to.
Could I get you out of here with helping us poor people out with like one little of these prop bets that you feel like you have information?
So I knew you were going to ask me this. I don't have anything right now.
Okay.
I believe I have like 3 people I talked to about this because we've just been working all the time. I feel like I've had a headset on for 50 hours. I haven't been able to be like, hey man, like what's going on with this thing? Also, like not as many places offer it now because they've gotten burned so ridiculously on this stuff where like people know all the money gets jammed in, you lose, like the book just loses on that bet. Like what fun is that? So I think the rehearsals usually happen I'll use last year. It's in Arizona. The rehearsals happened on Thursday. So we knew national anthem time. We knew first and last half song. We knew all the outfit stuff that usually gets posted. Like Rihanna performed last year. It was like there was a bunch of stuff about what she was going to wear and what the set was going to look like or whatever. Thursday was the day last year for all that stuff. My guess is it'll be the same today. And my guess is also that like this stuff's too public now. Like I'm probably going to get a note from somebody and I might have 30 seconds to bet it before everyone's just jamming this stuff and stuff gets pulled. So I wish I had something for everybody. I really do. If I did, I would say it. And maybe I'll get some stuff later today.
Well, thanks for hopping on with us, man. I totally get it. I know it's sometimes it's looked at as like, he doesn't have a real job, and I get it, but I know how incredibly busy you probably are over there. Coming on without just us in Portland, Oregon, and you probably have a million of these. We do appreciate your time, and thanks for waking up early at 3 a.m. West Coast time. Welcome to Pacific Standard Time Zone. Seems like you're not enjoying it all that much, given what time you're waking up, but we appreciate you hopping on, and good luck with your bets. We'll talk to you next week.
Not only am I enjoying it, I told my guy this earlier yesterday. I go, I love coming on with you guys. It is never a burden. I did not mean to insinuate I don't want to come on. I will come on whenever you guys want. Love you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you're the man. Enjoy the Super Bowl, Ken.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, there we go. Ken Barkley, You Better You Bet. Really good stuff. Him and Nick Costos do an exceptional job. They're live in Las Vegas as he's living that Vegas life, baby.